You are watching Woodbine Racing live from Toronto, home of the Toronto Blue Jays. And somebody to my right is now driving the bandwagon, and her name is Elisa Blow. She tried as hard as she could, folks, to stay up for all 18 innings the other day, but unfortunately, I gave you the cold that I had.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You took some medication.
Well,
that kind of
the old Neocitrin
that kind of knocked you out a little bit. But then you had a funny story that a lot of other people had, where you woke up, you're like, oh, so you won the game, you're like, the game's still going, or is this a replay of the game?
Yeah. Then I realized I looked at the innings, and I'm like, this is still going. So I watched it for a little bit again. So I guess I do technically count as making it to the end of the game.
Yep.
I just had a seventh inning stretch.
That's right. You had a little siesta during the game. Nothing wrong with that.
Wasn't yesterday's awesome? Like with the 2 home runs, just right off of the bat. It just got everybody so excited. Like I was actually at the barn riding yesterday, and we were like, okay, TikTok, let's get these horses put away because we need to watch the baseball game. And that's kind of the cool part about hanging out with a bunch of horse girls. Most of us are tomboys, and most of us played baseball, right? Yep. So we understand the game. But yeah, we were like, put these horses away and let's get to watching this game. So it was a lot of fun. Tomorrow
can't come soon enough. We're 1 win away, and fingers crossed we're able to get it. In terms of the horse racing, obviously a very busy time, as Robert spoke of, the Breeders' Cup, and we have a couple of big 2-year-old races. But one thing that is being overshadowed that Robert did not mention, and Robert usually steals all our material off the top of the show, is on Saturday we get the return of Emma Wilson.
Absolutely, and she's going to ride in the stake race, one of the stake races as well on Sunday too, so with the horse that's actually named Emma as well. So yeah, we'll see her back. I think she's got a couple on Saturday.
Yeah, it's got a fairly busy day.
Yeah. Got to ease back in though, so great to have her back in action as well.
And just housekeeping notes, there is no high five wagering tonight, so thus the carryover will carry over to tomorrow's card of racing because we're down to a field of 6. What else did I want to pass along? So we got Breeders' Cup, that's done. Blue Jays are done. I guess that's pretty much it from a housekeeping point of view.
Well, yeah, but I mean, the thing tomorrow is I need to get these races over with, okay? And so does everybody else. So if we could speed things up tomorrow,
and they're not going to a Game 7 because we go late on Saturday because of Breeders' Cup. So just Blue Jays could just finish things off tomorrow. We would definitely appreciate that. Well, let's get to topic number 1, which is actually a rewind of what took place on Sunday. And before we get to the recap board, let's take a look back at the Overskate Stakes. And this is kind of a nice story because I always like to see people who do best by the horse have success. And with Rapid Test, there were obviously some issues to start off the campaign with this one, but now the stakes winner.
I like to, exactly what you said. Catherine Day put the horse away. She gave a lot of credit to her husband, Todd Phillips, for looking after the horse, for hanging out with the horse. And I'm sure he did his work with him as well. But Rapid Test getting a nice win in the Overskates. And that was actually the second stakes win on the weekend for Austin Adams. He had won the day before with Giant Teddy, right?
Little Teddy.
Little Teddy. I was in my head, I'm like 50-50. It's giant or little, with Little Teddy, and then he came right back to win. So, I mean, here's a kid who was really rolling along, and then he got hurt, and he had to sit out about a week or so, a week, 10 days, and we were like, okay, hopefully he can kind of pick up where he left off, and no doubt about it, he's right back where he was with a couple of nice stakes wins.
So favorites won 2 of 11 races overall. The average win pound, anytime it's over $10, that's pretty good. And Moran got a Hattie, Xero Ford got a double, so did Tony Galileo. He uncorked a real nice first-time starter. And Marquez, he wins 2 races all the time, so that's not really a big deal. But want to wish everybody all the best of luck. Speaking of Mark Cassidy and Conditioner Kevin Attard as well, and anybody that went through Woodbine, all the best in the Breeders' Cup races as well.
Yeah, I'm sure they're getting excited. Of course, there was that big scratch as well.
Yeah, that stinks.
And it stinks. But that, to me, and I know there's a little, talk out there about should he have gone or should he have come out. I still agree you got to do what's best for
100%. 100%. Now, the question is, we're obviously speaking of sovereignty. Is he retired now, or does he go on to anything else?
I wonder.
So we'll see. Fingers crossed we get to see him a few more times. If not, I think he'll have a great career in the shed. So that's topic number 1. Topic number 2 is named after this show. Slow start. Actually, it's not. We're going to focus in on one that you and I have had on our watch list for a while now, and we've kept on waiting and waiting and waiting. And finally, we get to see her back in action, and this is Sweet Valentine. How would you describe this trip first time out?
Adventurous?
Yes, because you like this horse first time out.
I did, and this is your typical first-time starter when they're going to make a couple of little green mistakes. What I'm curious about is what took this filly so long to come back to the races, because I thought that we'd see her back in action very, very quickly. Now watch the slow start from Sweet Valentine. She's the 2 horse in this race, and you'll see everybody else goes, and she breaks a step behind. Sofia Vivez is aboard for this. But what you'll see here when we kind of speed things up, so she's way at the back, she's at the back of the pack. What you'll see here as we forward up is a horse that has so much grit and determination. Like, this is all pump that this filly's running on. Had she got a much better break, she would have been the winner of this event. Watch her just slip up the rail.
Right,
she is flying. Yeah. Now, that was against maidens for $15,000. And Jeff, what's interesting too is that on the return to the races after such a long break, June the 5th was the last time we saw her, the only time we saw her. What was it that kept her away from the races? And now we find her in for only $9,500. So there has to have been something, obviously, that was an issue with her that set her back, and now she comes back here today. Is she ready to win for this lower price tag, or do we look at horses who have been racing that are super, super fit coming into this event?
Yeah, like obviously Nutty Destiny's the horse to beat, right? That's the 8s, and both you and I put that one in the 2nd place position, but she's had a lot of chances, and you and I are just trying to find a bit of a price play in here, going towards the 3. You got Crumlin Beach on the inside. That one has kind of been shopping around for spots. You got Dancing Mare Marie, who had a quick comeback, and now has been given a little bit more time. Maiden 10 claimers. The best piece of advice I can give is just don't take a low number. And it looks like the board right now is pretty nice, as you have a bunch of 7-2 shots.
Well,
right now.
that's the thing. That's what you're going to see over, like we saw it last week. You got to start to figure out what droppers are dropping and popping, and what droppers you need to stay away from.
Yeah.
For example, we had a horse drop from an optional 75 or an A then in for 10, right, or something cheap, $7,500,
$5
and
tomorrow.
back in again, and didn't hit the board.
Yeah.
But so you have to start to figure out which ones you think are real and which ones you don't want to include. And the other thing, over the next couple of days, you're going to have to sort out these 40 horses coming into the mix as well, because we have some lower end claimers coming up your way too.
And you kind of have to handicap the turf races twice. I'm pretty sure we're not going to be on. Well, maybe on Saturday. I don't know. I don't think it looks great with the forecast.
Like, they're looking. This is what we have today: kind of dark, dreary, rainy. Far more rainier out my way than what it is here. But they're calling for something similar to this for tomorrow as well.
And there are turf races in the book all the way to the 9th of November. So got to handicap those races twice. So it just, and then unfortunately you don't know who's going to stay in, who's not coming in, who's going to stay. It's trying to
leave your turf to last minute.
That's a good piece of advice. Good form. Let's touch on that right now. And this is something that is so significant this time of the year. And you and I often talk about this, form versus class at this time of the season.
Well, there's so many. For example, Flying Black. I mean, this is a horse who put together 3 nice wins in a row and might be just getting a little bit tired now, coming in off of a 4th and 5th place effort. Reveler's Row is an interesting horse here for Katerina Vasilieva. Now, she's got great stats this year. She's clicking at a 23% average, very, very strong.
Yep.
She gets Flores to ride this evening, which is the first time we're going to see her use Flores on this horse, but we hardly ever see her use Flores very often. So, again, with Sahin being gone, there are a lot of shoes to fill, as we've mentioned. Now, there's others in here you could take a look at. Scat Girl would be maybe considered a horse just coming out of the Wonderwear and the breeders. I think she raced so well in the Wonderwear. That's why they went into the breeders. And I believe there's an article on the Daily Racing Forum's website tonight that Ron Geerking wrote about Scat Girl, just saying, that she was hard to pull up in the Wonderwear, and they thought, okay, well, this is great, we'll put her in the breeders, but it just didn't materialize in the breeders for her. I just think this barn is firing very, very well right now, so I'll stick to the 5 in the top spot. Theft is interesting. Haven't seen this horse since July the 12th, when finishing 2nd behind Blitz, and of course Robert had a chance to go visit this one.
This is a current photo, because it's got the same shirt and tie on.
Oh wow, this is today's photo.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, this is interesting too, because the horse shelved after that July 12th race.
So it's got a diamond on the top of his head and a diamond on his nose.
Yep. Could have come up with a few different names for that horse.
Maybe that's why they came up with the name Theft. We had that big burglar. Where was that? France?
Oh yes, but didn't they catch him already? They caught him, I think.
Yeah,
DNA. They had DNA.
So I'm going to go towards Theft there in race number 3. And you've gone towards whom in that third race?
Revelers Row.
Revelers Row, yeah. That inform horse right now. We've got Jockey moving in there too because Hernandez rides Revelers Row sometimes. He's going towards Theft. Munger rode the horse last time, and he's on days.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Now
we should mention that. If anybody's looking for Ryan Munger, he's sitting out for 3.
Yes. And we're going to miss him, but he'll be back. He'll be back in the not too distant future.
Yeah, I'm sure he's not missing racing on a cold night like this. He's always the guy who looks the coldest when they go out onto the racetrack.
Exactly. So let's get to the pick 4 now. We have a scratch of Sailor's Passion, who you liked a little bit today.
I really like this horse today. I was going to make him one of my best bets on the drop-in for $10,000, but he's out. So I'm going to scratch onto the horse that I think you've put in the top spot, and that's Embrace My Uncle. This barn, obviously, having a good campaign this year. They just had that nice win with Little Teddy in the stakes event the other day. It's the same jock trainer combination, Austin Adams with Santino DePaulo. I mean, that's kind of the one I think a lot of us are going to scratch onto. I really did want to see Sailor's Passion in for $10,000 today. I thought that would have been the right price to get this one home. But I'll go 5-9.
Speaking of droppers and how to interpret it, with the 9.
The 9. So he's claimed for $32,000, and they were adamant about putting him in these optional 32s, optional 50s, you know, and they just weren't working out. And now here comes the drop all the way down for $10,000, but the drop comes in with a bullet 3/8 in 35-3.
What if Drexler takes him back?
I don't know. That's kind of scary. You'd have to know something to want to take him back. Like the other thing too is Steve Cherkup going south for the winter?
He usually goes to Penn National.
Because a horse like this, you'd think would go there.
Yeah. He was, you know what too, with Tis Romantic, that leaves a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. He was a vet scratch for 15 October the 13th, and now resurfaces in for 10.
There's that. Now, the drop, if nobody takes him, makes him eligible for 10 starters.
Right.
If where he's going has 10 starters. You never quite know. Now, do we include Snookered? Because Snookered has got us a couple of times this year.
We've been snookered by Snookered. The thing is, he loves that pocket trip. When he can sitting behind the front runners, and he got a great trip last time, and he was able to win. The good news is, for us, because we haven't used him on our pick 4 today, is he rarely, if ever, has been able to double up. Exactly.
That's what I was thinking about too, because I did have to toss a 4th horse in because my other horse was out, and I thought, Snooker just can't really repeat. So I threw Renee's horse in, who ran a heck of a race last start out, Lobby Bar. Huge race at a low price, unfortunately.
Yeah, broke my heart on that day with that low price. Okay, so that's the pick 4. Exacta box. Shall we box some horses here coming up in race number 5 on the program? So we're going to go 6.5, 15,000, non-winners of 3. I think you're on the obvious horse, that being Croots. Again, how do you interpret the drop? We've seen a bunch of Kevin droppers. How would you categorize them for the most part?
Don't you think that it's like 3/4 of them are winning? Would you say like 75% of them find their way into the winner's circle lately?
I can think of a bunch
look
that
up those
haven't
stats.
won.
We should look up those
Catherine's
stats.
Cub dropped, didn't win.
There was one last week though on Thursday. Oh no, was that him? Yeah, in the last race on last Thursday night's card. I'm sure I showed the replay of the horse as well.
Let me look.
If it wasn't last Thursday, it was last Friday. Like I'm okay with playing his horses on the drop because he's having a lot of horses that they're selling.
Oh, Chambers.
Yeah, there you go, Chambers. They have a lot of horses that they've been selling. You know, you see them show up in all sorts of barns. They just don't fit the program. That could be the case with Groot, who's on the drop here today for 15,000. If you want him, come and get him. The 6 Secret Threat, that drop is a good one. You know, I mean, he's been a player. He's been a player for 25 non-3, and now he's in against 15 non-3. So you would consider that he should be right there as well. But you went to Crucial Taunt, which is kind of interesting. You know, this horse has been claimed a couple of times, and every time for $15,000, but the 25 was just way too tough.
It was, and you know what? I just love the way the visual he won 2 starts go. Now that was for previous connections. Can he bounce back here today? I like the fact that Pietro's back aboard, and this is something that you brought up the other day with the Apollo horse. This guy never works, and all of a sudden has some interim activity. So maybe he gets,
and it's a good work too.
Yeah, so who knows with that one. And just to get back to Groot, and a lot of Kevin's owners, they are big in the game.
Yeah,
like
sure.
Really, really big.
They want stake horses,
They don't
allowance
want
horses.
a 15,000.
Exactly,
right?
and that's just it. You know, you got to think about it that way too. Do they fit their program? No.
Yeah.
If they're not stake allowance horses, they don't fit their program. It's kind of like Chiefswood
would be a
horses.
nice horse for somebody else.
Sure, absolutely.
You know,
when you think of Chiefswood, you think of stake and allowance horses. That it, not claimers.
Yeah. So let's look at our exacta box segment. Let's now get to placed Oh, was there a place scene? Are you betting somebody to place? What are we
am I
doing
doing?
here? What's the theme here in race number 7?
I don't know.
It was a placing.
There was
Yes.
a placement. Yeah, and I hate to show this because, it's not a lot of fun for Austin to watch
but
it.
it wasn't intentional.
It wasn't
It was a
intentional.
mistake.
I have to show it because, it's important to the replay for this horse, Conn Smythe. So, you're going to watch it here in a couple of different ways. So Conn Smythe is the 7 in this race with the red cap, and you're going to find he's going to come over here to the inside. He's going to get himself onto the fence here. Now, this is in a maiden 25. He's in for maiden 15 today, and he dukes it out with Night Striker. Night Striker's working hard right here, and then you'll see Austin go to the left-hand whip. So right here, you don't really see anything, and neither did you or me.
Nope.
Right when we were watching the race, we never saw it. And then the inquiry sign went up afterwards, and so we watched it again here. Now watch. I think we're going to show this to you 2 more times. So right here, you're going to see Austin with the left-hand stick and it's hard to see right there, but it's easier to see it now in the slow-mo. He hits the horse in the face, both coming down there
yeah.
and going back up, okay? So the horse gets hit a couple times. Now, it was enough to get Night Striker disqualified because you just can't do that. You can't touch
There's
other
the
horses,
second one, yeah.
right? Can't touch other horses with your whip. So he's out. So what do we do with Conn Smythe today after this monstrous effort? I thought it was a great effort, They drop him in for $15,000, and this is Bill Theranis and how he makes money for his connections. So, I would imagine Bill's probably headed down south to Florida throughout the winter months. Could be the same thing here. They're just saying, you want him, come and get him, or he breaks his maiden here today, and then they're on to the non-winners of 2, and you'll find him back in the entries sooner or later. But I'm just going to use him up on top over the Gittins horse, living in the fast lane with Flores. Flores, they've had 2 nice second-place efforts, but that's already been for maidens for 10 and maidens for 15, whereas Conn Smythe's taking the drop. I didn't use Silent Night. That's a scary drop to me. From 40 and for 15. Haven't seen him since the 24th of August where he was beaten 48 lengths. And then I have to assume that on the 1 horse, Prince Almasty, that he bled last start out, and that's why he gets Lasix added today because he got walloped by about 26 lengths.
And then you got Switzerland jamming on the outside, and Slade continues to get more and more opportunities from Marty. He hasn't won yet
to win.
But we'll see if they're able to win with Switzerland jamming coming up in race number 7. And again, no high five now in that 7th race, just for that purpose. You know that we'll put that money under Lisa's pillow for tomorrow, and then it goes back into the pool.
It's not like back in the day when you put a tooth underneath. And how much did you get? I think I got
Not
a buck.
what the kids
Maybe
get
a
now.
Buck. Yeah. $1, $2 maybe for a good one.
And paper money. We got the paper dollars and the paper twos. Speaking of paper, let's make some paper. Our place of the day.
Well, one of mine scratched, and that's Sailor's Passion, but Sweet Valentine is the horse I showed you the replay of that had the slow break in the first lifetime start, then came flying. Revelers Row for Katerina. She's having a great season at a high strike rate, and Groot, I suggest, as a possible key in race number 5 on the drop.
It's raining, judging by that shot. I'm with you on Sweet Valentine, although we're cold on the board. Oof, I can feel the chill off the top.
That's fine, we'll take the price.
Yes, my best bet's going to be Theft. I've been waiting for this guy to come back. Finally does. Drop and pop, crucial taunts, and living in the fast lane. That's where Elisa's Hyundai spends most of its time in the old fast lane.
Not according to Dale DeRusso, who, last week, remember I said he passes me on the way home? You know what he told me last week? You're just not driving fast enough.
Oh, okay. It's just the speed limit's just a recommendation. Naughty Destiny, that's where Ron's going to go with his best bets. Silver Rally, that's where Doug's going to go, and Flying Black is going to be the Woodbine TV Broad beats the favorites. I should pass along this information too, that some gel was added to the racetrack during the dark days that we had.
Oh, right.
Now, normally that might have a bit of an impact, and that could be the storyline for tonight, but now you add in the rain as well.
Rain too. Yeah, and traditionally we find when this track gets wet, speed holds.
Yeah, and it was a slow surface last week.
It was last week, but it might be a little quicker tonight.
Yeah.
And they're gonna, I don't know, I'm looking at the willow trees out there now. It doesn't look that bad, but
it looks dark, Elisa.
Did I ever hit some nasty wind coming over the Skyway in Burlington? But, hopefully the wind stays away.
Have you ever been to Drake Drive? Is that
Where's
where,
that,
is that where Drake lives?
Oh, no.
Darren Glennon is going to send up this horse a number. I like it, Ernie. Yeah, how about this? 20-1 on the line. This one's going to come up at a race number 7 on the program.
So it looks like he's been clocking him since the summer.
Yeah.
Off of this bullet.
Now,
this,
unfortunately,
point
there's
that
some
he
scratches, which might kill the price a little bit, but still, that should be a number
I think
there.
you'll get a price on that one.
On Drake Drive. How much money do you think Drake's got?
Drake?
Who makes more money, Drake or me?
That's an easy one. Hey, you and I were both looking up the same thing, how much money these Blue Jays get.
Yep.
And Trey Savage, $57,000.
Yeah, now he did get a $4 million sign
They
bonus.
forgot to put that part in.
Yes,
but $57,000.
And then the guys like Prime Poor on the podium afterwards was like, yeah, the playoff check's going to be nice. Dude, you got $4 million already. We'll never make $4 million.
I didn't see
in our
that part. I
lifetime.
just saw the $57,000.
Yeah,
I was
crazy.
like, wow.
Crazy,
What
crazy,
a steal.
crazy. Oh, well, let's hopefully make some loonies and toonies here tonight. It's race number 1 coming up in about 22 minutes from now. I better check the script because producer Mike gets mad at me if I miss anything else.
I think you're good, buddy.
Nope, we're good. Preview of